Hello and welcome into Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and breaking news coming across for your New England Patriots. The Pats could actually be in on a potential trade for Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson. The latest that's coming across with Elliot Wolf making comments about the potential trades at the Patriots and what they'd be willing to give up, not just for Hendrickson in the top potential trade candidates across the NFL, taking a look over at Will Campbell and the offensive line, the latest that's going on with them, and the breakout sensation in Ereck Chisum. Could his ascendance be halted already because of an injury? Before we get into everything, make sure you go down and subscribe for the channel. Get in the comments and let us know what you think about the news that the Patriots have already called the Bengals about Trey Hendrickson. And if not Trey, who are the other players that the Patriots absolutely should be worth giving up the draft picks and all of the money to make sure that they are in the playoff hunt here in 2025. Also, make sure you go down and give us that like and go back and check out all of our old episodes after this one so you know exactly what's going on with your New England Patriots. We start with the news that Trey Hendrickson is indeed atop the Patriots wish list, as the Pats have indeed called the Bengals on potentially adding Trey Hendrickson to the fold in Foxborough. Hendrickson obviously not getting the contract that he had long sought after since leading the NFL in sacks just a season ago, and the Bengals having no interest in signing the 30-year-old to a long-term contract. The impasse went from pushing him to not attend training camp, coming back in, not making any headway, and it looks like it is in store for a messy divorce in Cincinnati, and at the point where they're ready to just get something and cut their losses. Now, could the Patriots say, here's Anthony Jennings, here's a third-round pick, and we'll give Hendrickson $30 million over the next 2 years? Is that enough to get it done? Remains to be seen. What we do know is that Elliot Wolf, GM for the Patriots, has already come out and said that they're ready to give up the draft picks if it's the right scenario and right move for this team. Read, if we can get a guy that can give Mike Vrabel a disruptor and really start to make big time noise in the AFC East, your Patriots are ready to make a move. And with just under $60 million in cap space available to the Patriots, they can go out and make any move they want. It's just, do you want to surrender the draft capital while also giving up that potential financial flexibility in the next few years, knowing that Drake May is eventually going to come up for his deal? Christian Gonzalez is going to come up for his deal. We know that Travion Henderson is another guy that is seemingly going to be in need of another deal soon enough. So there's a lot at play here. But at the end of the day, we know the Patriots have made a bigger step than they have all offseason, or even at the start of training camp, where they have now officially picked up the phone and called another team to say, we are interested in this player. What could it take for us to get a deal done? Not to say that it's even in the stratosphere of what Elliot Wolf and Mike Vrabel had deemed as appropriate for a guy like Trey Hendrickson. And again, leading the NFL in sacks, that's exactly what you want to bring in. The age and the money associated with it, while also giving up draft picks, obviously not what you want to have. But what we do know is that Elliot Wolf has indeed said that a move could happen and that they are willing to listen. And not only that, they are willing to give up a second rounder or even a first round pick to acquire a difference maker, as long as it is the right move for the New England Patriots. And I think this is a huge step. This has been a lot of conjecture all offseason, moves that could potentially be right for the Patriots, things that could fit. This is the first time the front office is actually coming out. And Mike Vrabel did say it in passing a few weeks back, of course we would listen to it. And that even went to Christian Wilkins, who is still a free agent. You know, you're always going to be open to things that make the team better. The fact that Elliot Wolf now is saying we would give up draft picks to do this. This isn't just signing. This isn't just free agent dollars. This is now, you know, you hate to hear it, but mortgaging your future or hedging that we can actually go out and, you know, get this done when it's worth your time. this is a big step. And whether this comes to fruition or not, I think this is huge for the New England Patriots because this means that they are seeing more from this team is possible. This is not just, hey, we could cause a few upsets and maybe sneak into the playoffs. This is more indicative of a team that sees aspirations of competing with the Buffalo Bills this year, which means they want to compete for an AFC East title, which means they are in the playoff mix and could potentially even win a game in the playoffs. And if you're able to get a guy like Trey Hendrickson, that absolutely plays into it. Now, the other names that we continue to talk about, Terry McLaurin looks to be more likely closer to a deal with the Washington Commanders, but again, things can go south at any time. And the same thing, whether it's Anthony Jennings, a pick and money to the Cincinnati Bengals for Hendrickson, is it Kendrick Bourne? A pick and money to get, Terry McLaurin? Or do you take that first, take that second, take Keon White, take all the money and say, here, give us Micah Parsons? Is that something that you keep your chips on, knowing that everybody's trying to go all in for someone like Hendrickson right now, and you try and wait it out a little bit? This is the game that Elliot Wolf and company will need to play a little bit more. But again, I think the end of it is that it is impressive that the Patriots have quickly gone from back-to-back 4-win seasons to now talking about being in on some of the top available players in the NFL. And the Patriots will realize that a lot of what they're doing is going to hinge on two things: the availability and the performance of the free agents and the trade acquisitions that they potentially are able to make, and what is coming out of their draft class of 2025, and specifically looking at the offensive line and what Will Campbell has been under the microscope this entire time. He's been put on the left side, the blind side of Drake May, and it has been sink or swim. And he's had to deal with a lot. He's dealt with a lot of scrutiny. He's dealt with mistakes, but he has learned from them. And what he was able to do in week 2 of the preseason is now being lauded by lots of groups, and specifically by PFF, who puts out their blocking grades. And of any rookie in the NFL in week 2, Will Campbell was the best, and easily. He tied with an 86.2 offensive blocking grade, along with Seattle first rounder Gray Zabel, but also having an 80.1 pass blocking grade, best of any rookie, and an 87.6 run blocking grade, best of any rookie. So Will Campbell showing it out on the field that he is able to make an impact. And I think a huge hat tip needs to go to Doug Marrone, the former Jacksonville Jaguars and Buffalo Bills head coach, who is now serving as the offensive line coach for the New England Patriots, not just at the left tackle position, but the right tackle, as Marcus Bryant, the 7th round rookie out of Missouri, actually checks in as the 5th highest rated pass rush offensive line blocker for all of week 2, checking at 66.4, and that pass blocking rate of 75.2. Just it shows what the Patriots have been able to do. And we talked about guys like Vidarian Lowe, Demondre Jacobs, what the rest of these tackle positions are looking like. It looks like Bryant is ready to take a huge step up and potentially be the swing tackle for this team in year 1. Now, yes, you wouldn't want to see him potentially starting on week 1 because that means you'd have 2 rookies flanking Drake May. But with Morgan Moses in the fold and being able to limit some of his reps throughout the preseason, it really sets up well. And now you have a backup that you would trust here as well. So again, the Patriots, had some disappointment in week 2 against the Minnesota Vikings because you're going up against the 2s and 3s of Minnesota. And yes, you can say that's why Will Campbell's numbers would have been inflated a little bit, but what he's been able to do, what the Patriots on the offensive line have been able to do, and as they continue to figure it out, I think is, again, a huge hat tip to Doug Marrone and to what the offensive and defensive rookie class have been able to put forth. And speaking of that rookie class, another one in the breakout of Ereck Chisum, and his 2 weeks have been nothing short of impressive. And after showing the tape and the film that he was able to put together in Minnesota, especially on that impressive TD run where he shook about 4 defenders while forcing his way into the end zone, apparently came at a cost, as he was indeed injured on that big time run after catch for the touchdown, as he did not practice here on Monday and had his foot and ankle looked at actually on Saturday by the athletic training staff after that touchdown catch and run. And on Monday, he didn't practice, but he was on the stationary bike for large parts of the practice, and from all accounts was riding it fairly intensely and angrily, I think, at one point. Was one thing that we got. And I think it goes to show that the Patriots have a lot of faith in this guy, and whether he's the sixth or fifth or whatever kind of pecking order that you want to put together, Ereck Chisum, I think, is now really high up there. I think this is a instance of telling a guy, look, you don't have to push yourself, get healthy, figure this out, and come back when you're ready, instead of, well, let's see what you can get out of this and how far are you willing to push. I think he showed everything he needs to. I think he is on this roster, and the Ereck Chisum experience, even though he's on the bike for Monday and maybe even today here as well. But with his injury, Kyle Williams, the fellow rookie, the third rounder out of Washington State, also didn't practice on Monday. The Patriots being smart about the repetitions that they're giving to their younger players, and making sure that at the end of the day, Drake May has plenty of weapons to work with as they gear up for the start of the 2025 season, just a few weeks away. That'll do it for us here on this episode of Pat's Latest. Again, make sure you go down and subscribe for the channel and get in the comments. Let us know what you think about all these rumors now and confirmation that the Patriots have indeed called the Bengals on Trey Hendrickson. Can they get this done? What do they need to give up? And what are you willing to part with to see the Patriots get someone of the level of Trey Hendrickson? Again, the leader in sacks in the NFL last year, added to this roster, could be a momentous difference maker for the Patriots here in the AFC East. Also, make sure you give us that like. Go back and check out all of our old episodes after this one. And make sure you keep it locked to Pat's Latest, as we will have it all for you right here. Fight on, Foxborough.